Hi, Jer. Good evening. Welcome to our March 26, 2025 meeting of the Newtown Township Board of Supervisors. As usual, I'd like to start this meeting with a moment of silence, which is particularly pertinent tonight, seeing all our firefighters here. So please join me in a moment of silence. Please join us for Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have a very auspicious occasion tonight. We are going to have recognition of two firefighters that went above and beyond the call of duty, which our firefighters always do, I might add. So this is in recognition of Michael Bradshaw and Quentin Jones. Whereas on February 4th, 2025, in Lower Makefield Township, a courageous act of bravery and dedication by firefighters in Newtown Fire Rescue resulted in the successful rescue and preservation of a human life. And whereas the actions of firefighters Michael Bradshaw and Quentin Jones demonstrated exceptional skill, quick thinking, and unwavering commitment to the safety and well-being of our community. And whereas firefighters Bradshaw and Jones' prompt and decisive actions under difficult circumstances directly led to the saving of Carol McGowan, a resident of Lower Makefield Township. And whereas the Newtown Township Board of Supervisors and the citizens of Newtown Township are deeply grateful for the selfless service and heroism displayed by firefighters Bradshaw and Jones. Now, be it proclaimed that the Newtown Township Board of Supervisors recognize and celebrate the life-saving actions of firefighters Bradshaw and Jones of the Newtown Fire Rescue.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Obviously, most of you know I'm Chief Glenn Forsythe from Newtown Fire Rescue. I'm honored to be here tonight for this recognition of these two firefighters. And I would like to recognize all the firefighters in the room. We do have some leadership here tonight. I'd like to introduce Chief Nate Nelson from Falls Township Fire Department, Battalion Chief, I keep thinking his name, Rob Flowers from Lingahaken. From Northampton Township, we have Captain Cody Stoner, and I think that is our command staff that is here tonight. I would like to introduce one gentleman. I consider myself an old-timer. You hear me say that all the time. We do have past chief from Hartsville here, Mr. Pfeiffer. So, Ed, if you'd like to stand up. Ed is many, many years of Hartsville Fire Company. He served the county a very long time. At this time, I would like to turn the presentation over to Chief Rick Gerhardt. Chief Gerhardt is a representative from the Bucks County Fire Chiefs and Firefighters Association. Chief.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief. On behalf of the Bucks County Fire Chiefs and Firefighters Association, we are here tonight to present the Medal of Valor Award to Firefighter Bradshaw and Firefighter Jones. Your heroic actions on February 4th, 2025 in Lower Makefield Township resulted in the successful rescue of a victim that was located on the second floor of a well-involved dwelling. Congratulations on a job well done. Congratulations.
As you heard, this fire occurred on February 4th, 2025 in Lower Makefield Township. We have the command staff from Yardley Makefield Fire Company here. I'd like to turn it over to Chief Chamberlain. Good, because they're both Chief Chamberlain.
Thank you, Chief. Once again, I'm Tim Chamberlain. I'm the Deputy Fire Chief from the Yardley Makefield Fire Company. To my right is the Fire Chief, Glenn Chamberlain, who was also the command staff on that day of the incident. I just want to give a brief overview because, as you can see the picture next to me, you can see the raging fire that was there. But just to give a kind of a story behind it a little bit. So, once again, on Tuesday, February 4th, 2025, at 11:33 a.m., fire companies were dispatched for a possible house fire on Farmview Drive in Lower Makefield Township. Numerous 911 calls were coming in the dispatch center about the fire and reports that someone went back into the house to find pets. As emergency personnel were en route, two sanitary workers from McCullough Waste Disposal who were in the area noticed the event unfolding and rendered their assistance. Both workers noticed the male occupant had difficulty walking and was coming down the stairs in an electric chair and assisted removing him from the house. Firefighters Michael Bradshaw and Quentin Jones from Newtown Fire Rescue arrived 6 minutes after dispatch and were advised by Lower Makefield police officers that one of the female occupants went back inside to find a dog on the second floor. The enclosed deck attached to the back of the house was fully engulfed in fire, with fire extending into the first and second floors of the house. Firefighter Bradshaw and Jones entered the house, in which they encountered moderate heat and had very little visibility on the first floor with zero visibility on the second floor. Firefighter Jones proceeded up the stairs while Firefighter Bradshaw stayed on the first floor with a pressurized water fire extinguisher, attempting to keep the fire from going up the steps towards Firefighter Jones and the occupant. Firefighter Jones, under zero visibility and moderate heat, located the female at the top of the stairs, disoriented and stumbling around. Firefighter Jones quickly moved her down the stairs, where Firefighter Bradshaw grabbed her and took her out the front door and passed her to a police officer. Firefighter Jones continued to search the second floor when Firefighter Bradshaw yelled to him to quickly come down to the fire coming down the hallway and towards the stairs. Both firefighters quickly exited the home moments before the fire spread up the stairs and blew out the window above the front door, as you can see in the picture to my right. As Firefighter Bradshaw and Jones were rescuing the occupants, the crew from Rescue 45 secured a water supply, deployed a hand line to the rear of the house, and deployed a hand line to the front of the house to start extinguishment. Additional firefighters arrived and assisted with numerous other activities. The female who was rescued was taken to the local hospital along with the other two occupants of the home for smoke inhalation. The female was transported to a specialty hospital in the city of Philadelphia due to her injuries. She was released a few weeks later and is recovering nicely. The Yardley Makefield Fire Company has a long history of working together with the members of the Newtown Fire Association and Newtown Fire Rescue. We are proud to have these fellow brothers and sisters next to us who, at a moment's notice, are willing to come and help us protect our residents and citizens of Lower Makefield and Yardley Borough. We would like to express our sincere gratitude to both firefighter Michael Bradshaw and Quentin Jones for their courageous and life-saving actions, entering the home without the protection of a hand line, using their training and skills to locate and remove the female occupant just before the house became totally engulfed in fire. Their actions changed the outcome of the incident and prevented the loss of life. We'd like to present these two with this plaque. We would also like to thank the crew from Rescue 45 for their swift actions at the house fire that occurred on that day with this unit citation. If Lieutenant Martindale could come up. Your actions that day changed the outcome of this incident. We thank you.
Okay, it's my turn, so we can be short and sweet. This is a very dangerous job. Every month you hear me stand at this podium and give a report of what we do. I want to thank each and every person in this room tonight that's wearing this uniform, whether career, volunteer. A lot of times we feel like this is a thankless job. These two guys and everybody you see here tonight in this uniform, a lot of them don't get paid to do this, and they put their life in their hands every time they get on a truck. So to Michael Bradshaw and Quinn Jones, I congratulate them as their chief. It is an honor to be their chief and to be all the volunteer chiefs of Newtown. It's a privilege to serve. I'm very fortunate. I've been doing this. In June will be 50 years. I'm also very proud of the fact that my father recently passed away, and my family, my grandfather joined the fire company in 1915. So I'm very proud of Newtown Fire Association, Newtown Fire Rescue, and I'm more proud of everybody standing in this room tonight in this uniform. So I commend you two gentlemen. You do great work, and I commend everybody in this room that's wearing this uniform. So, Madam Chair, turn it back to you.
I wonder if you would like to take pictures and have your families come up. That would be appropriate at this time, if you'd like to do so. Oh, I'm going to call for a recess in order to do that. Thank you. Nothing passes these. Where's everybody? I'll just close the doors and I'll call back. Okay. I'd like to call this meeting back to order. It's time for public comment. For items on the agenda, please state your name and where you're from. Seeing none. Wow. Seeing none, we'll move on to reports of committees, boards, and commissions. We have no committee reports, therefore, I will do my chairperson report. First of all, our condolences go out to the chief and his family on the death of his father, who was, a special man in Newtown Township. And we're sad for the chief, but he lived a long life, and he died with a smile on his face, I believe, with his family all around him. Also, I'm so proud of our firefighters, as you often hear me say. I love these guys. They do their job, they go above and beyond. So I work very hard for them, and it's with deep pleasure that I do so. Speaking of fire, we are working on a preliminary agreement for our next year, or hopefully more years, of our agreement with the borough for fire services. Also, working on pollinator garden, point 2. So we couldn't do it last year, we're going to do it this year. We're doing it in a very organized way, hopefully. And we will not be using Roundup. I think that's a great thing. With that, I'll pass it on to our vice chair.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just have one or two things to mention, and primarily my thanks and appreciation to firefighters Bradshaw and Jones and the whole Newtown Fire Association and Newtown Emergency Services. I just a big thank you to them. My heartfelt admiration. I looked at that picture on the patch when it hit the day or two after the event, and I called the chief right away and said, I just didn't believe that story, that folks would walk into a house engulfed just as much as that was. And the other, just to mention that Twining Bridge Road will be detoured for up to 3 weeks, and they surprised me putting up a sign in my neighbor's yard right across the street about a detour for Twining Bridge. So that was funny. When I spoke to the man, he said, "We're fixing the bridge." There's no bridge on Twining Bridge, and maybe years ago down at Newtown, at Neshaminy Creek. But in any event, that's what I have.
Mr. Assistant Secretary, Assistant Treasurer.
John Mack, also, make America's Constitution king. Thank you. I just want to mention I had a Meet Mac Tuesday Zoom meeting last night, and we talked about, several residents were attending, talked about the sewer treatment plant, the Sunoco pipeline leak, pedestrian safety, why is our electricity and gas bills so high. I mentioned that last time. An update on the plan for a public mural. It was a good session, and if you're interested, I can tell you where you can find the video and audio. Thank you.
Mr. Calabro.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have really nothing to report. I just have a point of inquiry of the manager, if I may ask at this moment. For a couple meetings now, I think the topic of the Sunoco pipeline has been brought up. And although it has been affecting our neighbors in Upper Makefield, I think that the pipeline does go through Newtown Township, and I was just wondering if we had any kind of update on the safety of our water and the safety of our township residents.
So the pipeline, it does run through the township. They were out on the pipeline and inspected several areas of the pipeline they recently done repairs on per the instruction of DEP and EPA. So we have no report that they found anything, so it appears that all is good.
I have nothing to report.
Moving on to our consent agenda. This includes the minutes of the March 12th meeting, paying our bills, and approval of the purchase of road maintenance materials with Eureka Stone Quarry and Miller Materials. So, do I have a vote to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any comments from the board?
Yeah, I have a point of to make with the minutes. I believe in public comment last meeting, Valerie Mihalik spoke to the gas line incident in the Lower Makefield, and it wasn't in the minutes, so wanted to point that out.
Still in the minutes.
That's something we can get looked at and approve in the next meeting, or,
Absolutely.
all right.
How is that being done now, the minutes? Since we don't have a secretary here.
She's doing it over on the computer, watching it live or replay, and taking the minutes and submitting them.
Okay.
If
Can you
there's
make
any
sure
change-
that that is put back in the minutes?
Yeah.
Thank
Yep,
you.
we'll take care of it.
Thank you.
Anything else?
No, so how do we vote on the consent agenda then?
Well, can I make a comment?
Well, it's,
Oh,
yes.
You can amend it. I'd amend my motion.
So are you going to amend the motion to remove item A? Is that what we're doing? Okay, thank you.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Any other comments?
Yeah, I'm looking at the bills list. The total bills, I think, is $270,914.61. The total funds transfer is $381,428. I'm looking at a couple of things, like on page 1, the Armour and Sons Electric Incorporated charges for streetlight repairs, labor and materials to replace knockdown pole. There are two charges there, one for $4,424 and one for $3,886.65. What happened? Was there some kind of
I don't know the details of what happened. It appears that there's two pieces of equipment that were damaged.
Okay. And I noticed that there was a problem with the street lights that has been fixed now.
That, to my understanding, along Sycamore Street has been fixed, yes.
Yeah. Hopefully, we'll see. And then there was a charge from Pico on page 5 of $15,000. I was just hoping that those charges would decrease once the LED lights were in. And I don't know, are we seeing any any decrease in those charges for electricity?
I will have to look into that and get back to you. I don't have that information
Yeah,
in front of
okay,
me right now.
thanks. I'm sorry, I caught you off guard here, maybe, I'm sorry. The other thing was a 7,000 on page 3 for a striping machine. First I thought it was a stripping machine, but it's striping. For $7,228.26. I guess that's to put stripes on the road, like,
Yeah, it's for crosswalks, parking lots,
mostly for
paint
parking
machine.
lots?
Yes, it's a paint, for road marking, yes.
Oh, okay. Does the, like on Sycamore Street, does PennDOT do the lane markings, the turn lanes and stuff
On
like that?
Sycamore Street, no, that's the township's responsibility.
That's the township, but it seems a little, needs a little work near that MSFT Bank or whatever it's called on, where the bridge is over there that was recently repaired.
Okay, we'll take a look at it.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Any other comments from the board? Any from the public? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of approving our consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. 5-0, sorry. Reports of officials. Ms. Calabre.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The item that we have tonight is authorization of the 2025 Liquid Fuels Road Program. This is just the township's annual road program. It's just that time of year again. So this includes, roadway repaving of various roadways throughout the township, as well as, replacement of sidewalk, ADA curb ramps, and line striping, and some drainage improvements as well. As we've done in years past, we have a base bid that has several locations in it, as well as several other alternate bids that are just various streets throughout the township. I can list the base bid roadways quickly. We have Poppy Court, a portion of South State Street, Wexley Drive, Cliveden Drive, Meridian Circle, High Street, and Willow Court. Those make up the base bid, and depending on where the bids come in at, we can, be in a position to, award a variety of alternate bids and different roadways along with those base bid roadways. So the base bid consists of 1.6 miles of road and then roughly 3.5, just shy of 3.5 for all of the alternate bid roads. As we've done in the past, we don't anticipate doing all of those roadways, just, we like to see where the prices come in. So I'm happy to answer any questions, but the motion would be to approve the authorization and that we'd open bids prior to the next board meeting.
I'll make the motion.
Any comments from the board?
I have a question about how you mix and match once the base bid is offered. Is it kind of like the closest without going over, like the Price is Right, or?
That's pretty much what it is, yeah, and it's like an a la carte menu, if you will.
Yeah.
We see where the prices come in, and, we get input, obviously, from the Public Works Department, and we get up to that
I
budget.
guess it matters which ones are needed most. so.
Correct, yep.
Thanks.
A question on the alternate bids.
Yep.
I know you got them numbered 1 through 25. Is that the order in which they are to be done, or is that just a random numbering?
Yeah, it's not necessarily the order that they're done, just how we, structured the bid.
Okay. I'm just looking at number 1, which is near and dear to my heart there. It's North Drive, but you say the entire length. Well, that means it would stop before you got to South Drive.
Correct,
right?
yes.
You wouldn't do the whole,
Yep.
all of Newtown
Just the
Grand.
portion of North Drive, yep.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Can I ask, did we have, when did we use the ARPA funds for extra road paving? Was that last year? That was last year?
Yes, last year.
Okay. Any other comments from the board? Any from the public? Hearing none, I will call the question. Do we have a motion to approve the advertisement of the 2025 road bid?
What?
You got a call question?
Didn't I just say that?
We can call question.
I said, do,
We have a motion.
we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Madam Chairperson, can I just make a comment to our engineer. I want to thank you for the information you provided prior to this meeting when I asked questions about the pedestrian safety, specifically the proposal for Newtown Yardley Road sidewalk. I understand you're modifying it to show some more details, and you're going to have that, I guess it's a memorandum that by the end of this week, I think you said something like that?
Yeah, we'll have a concept plan for each, breakdown as well as cost estimates for each one.
Right. Okay, thank you very much.
Mhm.
Are you speaking about the Tara Boulevard? Is that what you said?
About the sidewalk along the cemetery that leads to the borough to help connect our Newtown Trail with the sidewalks in the borough. I know you also worked on the Summit Trace crosswalk study that's been submitted to PennDOT.
Correct, yep.
I did get some communication from a member of the Newtown Gate Townhouse Owners Association. He made some suggestions for other things that could be improved there. I'll pass that on to you.
Okay.
After the meeting, I think.
Great,
Those
thank
comments.
you. Mhm.
I'd like to ask a question of the board. I would like to know if the board is of a mind to continue with the sidewalk in front of the cemetery and the curbing there. I would like to know if we would like to spend more money on that, or if we feel that that has been done sufficiently. So if I could have your opinions, I would appreciate it.
Well, the point is, there's been nothing done. The path there is very close to the road at some points with no curbing. I know the curbing is there for safety reasons, would help. I know drivers are sometimes on their cell phones, or like me, driving a Jeep Wrangler, curbs don't matter for that. My wife can tell you that. I drive over curbs all the time. But generally, I think it would improve the safety, and I think we have some excess funds available from the common sidewalk project that we got funding for that. And I just think if the borough can have sidewalks, why can't the township? I just don't understand that. But I know there are some people in the cemetery who are opposed to it. I didn't think dead people had a, opinion on that, but that's for me in my comedy class on Thursday. I'm going to get into that a little bit. Okay, that's all I had to say about that.
Anybody else? I've talked to the people at the cemetery. They love the bucolic nature of the way it looks right now. They are not in favor of going further on this project. That's why I'm polling the board. My opinion is I think we've gone above and beyond in doing everything we can to make sure the Tara Boulevard crosswalk is safe. We put decorative poles, we put a repeating light, and I would just like to know if we would like to go further with this. And I'm asking everybody's opinion. Mr. Calabro, do you have an opinion on this?
Well, my thoughts on this is, one, who owns the property, and whoever owns the property, did they request for this to be done? And others would be the cost. What would the cost value have to be? I know Mr. Mack is talking about the borough. How much is the borough giving us? They don't give us anything most of the times. So, I mean, the cost factor, and if the owner of the property has not requested it, who are we to go in and do this unbeknownst to them? So that's pretty much where I stand. If it's not a necessity, then I don't see it should be done by the township. Maybe the stewards of the cemetery should be the ones paying for some sort of walkway there.
Thank you. Mr. Fisher?
I'm inclined to say no. I don't want to do it. mainly because if the administration of the cemetery are not for it, that's one factor. And the other factor, as Mr. Calabro said, is the cost. I don't know what it's going to cost, but it is a factor. So I'm inclined to say no.
Mr. Davis?
I am not looking for reasons to spend more money, but we do have a comprehensive trail plan for the township, and there's a lot of places that have zero, nothing, that are on the list. I think maybe we add this as a possibility to that list. I mean, for the future, but I think on the short term, we're going to have some chickens come home to roost money-wise. I don't want to spend money just to spend it.
Thank you.
Sure.
Mr. Mack, I know your opinion, but
Kai, you have a good point. I mean, I think I'll call it the old days, we used to have a tip list, but that was for roadways. Maybe we could have a tip list for any potential walkways or pathways, and that could be something that considered in the future.
I don't remember. Did we have an order we had preferred for that, Micah?
Yes, in the comprehensive trail plan, there's an outline of priorities.
I didn't remember that part, but I remember the plan. But
Yeah.
yeah. So
I'm sorry.
yeah, that's right. That was all. Thanks.
I wasn't aware that the cemetery owned that. I thought it was sort of, I don't know what you call it, the right-of-way owned by the township. Are they responsible for maintaining that and everything? Is that right?
yes,
I didn't know that. Okay, thank you.
okay.
Perhaps, Mr. Lewis, could you point us in the right direction to find the trail plan, or send a copy of it out?
Yeah,
You probably know.
a copy's actually on the website
Yeah,
under the community tab.
okay. I know I've seen it, but it'll save me some time.
Well, we're paying the engineers to come up with this report. Maybe we should just hold off and look at that. There's going to be numbers in there, and then we can decide. Is that fair?
I'm not for that. I don't think we should ask our engineer to do this project if we're not going to continue it. From what I hear, nobody has the will to do it. Cemetery doesn't want it. I don't see where to go from there, actually.
All right, I guess we'll see what happens if anybody gets hurt, like at Silo Drive and North Sycamore Street. It's taking us 3 or 4 years to get improvements over there after somebody was killed. So, I don't know. We'll see.
And that was definitely needed, and there's no doubt about it. So I hear you. And I'm glad we did that. That was a great project, and makes the community safer, so.
Yeah,
No
I
doubt
know I
about
had to
it.
take heat for it from the lawyers. It was like I was on trial because I raised a concern about it. I don't like that, township being sued. We should have an executive session to find out what the hell's happening with that case.
I'm not sure what you're referring to, but
The township is being sued by the people, the relatives of the man who was killed on
Um,
Silo Drive. I haven't heard anything about that, and we need to discuss it at the executive session, but we seem not to have any executive sessions anymore to discuss legal
well, that's a whole
matters.
nother issue. So we can certainly discuss that at some point, but that is not what we're talking about at the moment. Okay, moving on to the solicitor report.
Thank you,
Mr.
Madam Chair.
Solicitor.
Thank you. The only item on our report this evening is the upcoming April 3rd zoning hearing board applications. There are 2 applications. The Planning Commission recommended no action on them. However, they are before you to determine whether you wish to take any action on them, and I would pose that question to the board.
Let me just add that they recommended it go straight to zoning without the supervisors having a say. So after it finishes with zoning, it will come back to us, at which point we can talk about it then. Is that correct?
I'm not sure I understand. These are scheduled to be heard
Right.
by the zoning hearing board on April 3rd, and
Right.
this board needs to make a decision before then, which is this meeting tonight,
Okay.
whether you wish to take a position on those applications.
Okay. And the planning commission recommended taking no position?
Correct.
Okay. Okay?
Okay,
so
hearing crickets, we will proceed with no
Do you need
no
a
action.
vote on that?
No vote necessary. And that concludes our report.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Mr. Manager,
Thank you, Madam Chair. General fund balance this evening is $6,373,501. Plan expirations before the board with no action required. This evening, we have Chief Forsyth again to give his monthly chief's report. Evening, Chief.
Thank you. For the month of February, I would like to report that we responded to 165 calls for service. We completed 60 fire safety inspections in Newtown Township and 18 in Newtown Borough. Some of our highlights, Assistant Chief Weaver was selected through Dow Chemical to attend a week class on hazmat training in Texas. He was able to do that at no cost to the township, so we thank Dow for selecting Nick to do that. February 3rd, I attended the Fire Service Advisory Board meeting in Ivyland. Obviously, tonight, we responded to a serious house fire in Lower Makefield on February 4th. February 10th, we had the Executive Board meeting in the Fire Department, the Fire Association. February 11th, Chief Weaver and I met with Supervisor Snyder and Fisher to discuss the fire operations and the borough issues. February 13th, Nick and I attended the Bucks County Career Fire Chiefs meeting. We hosted that. And February 20th, we participated in the Alice drill that was conducted at Council Rock High School North. February 22nd, I attended and participated in a panel discussion at the Picado meeting at Northampton Country Club. It was very interesting to meet with a lot of the elected officials, township officials there, and discuss fire department issues and how Newtown Township deals with it. I think we did a pretty good job, and I think that everybody was very appreciative for us being on the panel and discussing the issues. February 27th, the fire rescue guys participated in evacuation training at Goodnoe Elementary. That was for the staff and the students. February 27th, myself and firefighter Bradshaw attended a tabletop exercise for emergency management at Chandler Hall. We belong to a group now that we meet once a month, and we're going around to the different nursing homes and other facilities to conduct tabletop operations and exercises so that the staffs in these buildings know what we in emergency services are looking for whenever there's an issue, whether it's a weather emergency or any other thing that could affect their operation. And also on February 27th, Lieutenant Joe Martindale and I attended a meeting with the homeowners of Lakeview Estates to discuss the December 11th fire. That meeting was conducted here in this meeting room. So that was our activity for the month of February. And again, I thank the board for the recognition of the staff here tonight. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions you may have.
I would just like to again say we're so sorry about your dad.
Thank you.
We appreciate his service as well as yours
Well,
and the
thank you
rest
very
of your family. Your boy that's
Yeah.
coming right up after you.
Well, I will do my plug. Anybody that's interested in joining the fire department, we'll be more than happy to train you. We'll equip you. Obviously, you can see the board has taken actions, and it costs money to have a career staff. But every day we lose another volunteer, and it's harder to find volunteers all the time. So anybody that's interested, give me a call in my office, stop by the firehouse. We'll be more than happy to set you up and get you set up for training.
Chief, can you remind us, we got a grant to hire full-time firefighters, and I forget when that money runs out. Can you explain that again? How many firefighters we hired under that grant, where the grant came from, and when the money runs out?
We received the 2022 FEMA SAFER grant. It's staffing and fire-related services for emergency services. We received $1.8 million, and that funding is done in March of 2027.
March 2027, after which I think you mentioned a while ago that it's practically unheard of to get a second FEMA grant, and it would be necessary to find the funds to keep, how many, did we hire new firefighters?
We hired 4.
4. And I believe you also previously had said something about the firehouse over here not being really adequate in this day and age. Eventually, do you believe that needs to be replaced with a new firehouse?
Yes, I do. And I think that before we can go 24-hour to provide the service that we should be providing to the citizens of the Newtown Township, that building needs to be constructed.
Well, that's another major project we have to consider. Thank you.
We're waiting for the architecture, right?
Yes.
Design.
There's a study in process.
Yes.
Yes. I think that is, that's paramount. So that's something that we have to have a plan for and put into action, because obviously what we have is not sufficient. And if you went to a modern firehouse, you would see exactly what they have that we don't. And we are, I don't want to make light of this, we are working in unsafe conditions. Our firefighters are. So we'd like to change that and make sure they work in the safest conditions possible.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. That's all we have under our report, Madam Chair.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I have a question for the manager, if I may. I'd like to go back to my favorite report, the planned expiration dates. And being that the situation with the sewer authority and the plant is pretty much put to bed, I know that KRE had a vested interest in that property, and I was just wondering if we heard anything from KRE in regards to them possibly wanting to redevelop that property the way they originally had stated?
I have not.
Okay. Do we plan on, I don't know, getting in touch with them, or are we just going to sit back and wait and see what happens?
Right now, the property belongs to the sewer authority, so until, I guess, they figure out what they're going to do with it, I mean, it's their property still.
Okay. Thank you.
Charles Foyer, Newtown Walk. I think the appropriateness of the commendation of the firefighters was excellent, and as the chair pointed out, it involved the saving of a life. And in that note, I believe our township engineer indicated that we would get a schedule of the contractor for the Tara and Silo crosswalks, in which we know a life has been lost and a number of others have come close. Just like to bring that as a point of fact. Don't know if our engineer has that schedule for the beginning of the construction of these. The second thing I wanted to bring up was, as our Board of Supervisors pointed out when we started the Tara crosswalk, due to the near losses of life of people in Newtown Walk and those people using the Newtown Trail. I don't know the number of the amount that's been put into the Newtown Trail, but the crosswalk in front of Newtown Walk is part of that trail, and because of the near loss of life, that's why residents took it upon themselves to apply to the board and the township to improve this crosswalk because of the problems with the line of sight, the speed, and various other things. And at the time, we believed that as part of the plan, that the sidewalk from Tara, the Tara crosswalk to the borough, which as you've seen is a cement sidewalk with curbing, was part of that program. We were informed, I was informed, that there wasn't enough money in the ARLE grant to pay for the sidewalk and the curbing to be put in, and if we could find the money, that it would then be considered. And after completing diligence and finding the Newtown Business Commons sidewalk project had not included the sidewalk in front of the Business Commons along Newtown Yardley Road, but that the bid came in at 49% of RVE's estimate. There was a great deal of extra money in that grant that further we got approval from PennDOT to use those funds for this. I find it sort of appalling that the Board of Supervisors, after having approved and instructed the township engineers to price this out, is canceling any more effort on it before getting the answer when PennDOT and their grant is paying for 70% of the cost of it. Now, we don't know the cost of it because the Board of Supervisors just decided, without public comment and consideration of the citizens and the people that you're guiding to use the Newtown Trail, including the $1 million grant for the pedestrian bridge and other developments that are being done. I'd like to remind the Board of Supervisors that this particular sidewalk, and the reason we're asking, the citizens are asking for an 8-inch curb, is because this is where the sidewalk is at the same level as the road surface, and the sidewalk meets the road. Further consideration, and I think confirmation by our township engineer, would confirm that guiding people to walk to the road, and based upon the improvements that are being made at the Tara crosswalk, the nature of traffic in that area is going to change. Because people have now had to slow down to 25 miles an hour, which sometimes happens, sometimes doesn't, and because of the rapid reflecting beacon lights that are going to be put in, people speeding in both directions are going to be surprised by the beacons. They're going to be new. The traffic pattern is going to change. And people who are on their cell phones or distracted already do veer into other lanes in order to avoid hitting the car in front of them because people are in that crosswalk. To decide to stop looking at this project because of the money and because there's been no loss of life yet on that sidewalk seems rather short-sighted when we're celebrating the saving of lives, and this is a likely example where lives would be saved from vehicular accidents and loss of life. So I would ask that the Board of Supervisors that have gone this far with the township engineer allow the engineer to continue, come up with the cost basis, And in light of the fact that 70% of it would be paid by a grant from PennDOT, and I'd like that to be considered and perhaps brought up again. I, again, would like to restate that deciding on that without public comment and hearing from the people that use the Newtown Trail seems rather short-sighted. Thank you.
Shouldn't we have a motion, an official motion to cancel the work that the engineer is doing, just for the record, to see who votes yay and nay?
Well, that's not going to happen tonight because it's not on the agenda. If the board wishes to do that, it certainly may, but it's got to be put on the next agenda.
I suggest we do that.
Valerie Mahalik, Newtown Walk. I would like to echo what my neighbor Charlie was saying. I was at the podium a couple of months ago telling you all this story, and Supervisor Snyder, I know you used the crosswalk where maybe you can visualize this. On the cemetery side, you know, where there's no curbing, my daughter, my 15-year-old daughter, was walking ahead of me. And again, because of the line of sight, and at this time of day, it was the end of the day, we had a glare issue. So we have glare in the morning and glare at night. The car saw my daughter coming into the street. It was actually the turning lane of our neighborhood, and stopped. So my daughter started going into the crosswalk, but the car from behind was not expecting the car to stop and swerved into the turning lane, nearly hitting my 15-year-old daughter. That's going to happen on the other side. As wonderful as it's going to be that we will have this rapid blinking, flashing light, the concern now is when a car sees our pedestrians, any pedestrians, not just from our community, your community, anyone that uses the Newtown Trail, because of that line of sight issue, and if they're not doing 25, which most people are not, if they go to stop abruptly because now the pedestrian's in the crosswalk, the car from behind is going to swerve, just like what happened in our turning lane. And if anyone is over there walking their dog or just walking naturally or whatever, it's going to become a problem. And actually, my concern with now the rapid blinking light forcing cars to stop, which is great, I think we need to anticipate, and perhaps maybe when we're over there walking, I want you to try to visualize this happening, because it was something I honestly never thought of before. Like here, I'm telling my daughter, in order to get the cars to stop, you have to actually go into the road, which leaving our community is a turning lane. And when that car was swerving out of the way to not hit the car in front of them, my daughter's very lucky. So just something if you could just think about when you're walking over there. I also want to add to the Sunoco pipeline issue, and I guess this is directed more to our manager. So I spoke to someone on Monday about the pipeline, one of the supervisors, and so the concern isn't the actual leak itself, because the way that leak is, it flows down to the Delaware River. The concern is the integrity of the pipeline. The pipeline is 75 years old. It has 44 braces on it from 44 leaks throughout its history. And ironically, when Sunoco put the pipeline in the 50s, the thought process was it's guaranteed for life. What's guaranteed for life? So my question is, how do we know if there are any leaks along the Newtown length of the pipeline? Because the only way Upper Makefield found out is through the homeowners who smelled the jet fuel in their water. Since we're not in the same situation with having well water, how would we know? And the other thing is, they do not know what caused the leak in the Mount Air community, which is also concerning. It's not from someone putting in a pool or doing something construction-wise that they were drilling down and then caused the pipeline to leak. So my request is, could there be some way that we could be guaranteed while we have them here in the neighborhood, so to speak, to inspect, because they inspect the pipeline through drones, to inspect the entire pipeline throughout Newtown Township to make sure there are no leaks that we might not even know about. Thank you.
I just want to comment that we are doing our due diligence as far as the pipeline is concerned, following everything that goes on. I talk to the Upper Makefield supervisors all the time about it. I understand. That's why we took some action that we did recently to look at it. And it's funny, I was walking through your neighborhood, and when you notice it, you notice it. All those yellow, things sticking out of the ground. And I was thinking to myself, wow, look, right in the community itself, right here. And then you start to notice those yellow pipes everywhere. So yes, we have it going through Newtown, there is no doubt about it, and we will watch that like a hawk to make sure that nothing happens to our community. Thank you.
Good evening, Melissa Merck. I live on Wrights Road. I just wanted to say thank you to the board for whatever action you took to remove Roundup from the upcoming project. As a concerned citizen here, I was very upset to hear last time I was here that Roundup was going to be used so close to our playgrounds. So thank you to the board for taking that action.
Roundup is going to be used for the Meadow project. I don't believe, have control over that.
Oh, I guess I misunderstood,
No,
Ms. Snyder.
I was talking about the pollinator garden in Roberts Ridge Park, but I've made inquiries, to our engineer to see if there was any chance, to our township manager, to see if there was any chance that we could use some other method. What I hear is that's the way they do it, and that's it, and that's run by the state. Is that right, Mr. Manager? It's run by the state. So we have very little input. If I could, I would stand there and say, no, but I was promised that it would be marked off very well, that there would be no chance of anybody stumbling into that area. And if I could do more, I would. And I agree. We don't want Roundup. We don't want it anywhere near our kids, near our adults, near our dogs that play in that park. I agree.
I think that DCNR is the state agency that's going to be doing this work. And I did speak to the environmentalist there. She says there's no way they would use agricultural vinegar. She gave me various reasons. Maybe you could talk to her. I'll give you her number. And but they did express the wish to come before our Environmental Advisory Council to work with the Advisory Council to explain what's going on with Roundup and the whole project. And I just wanted to make sure that if they're going to use Roundup, they use the plan that we submitted, because their plan was slightly different, where one part of it extends over closer to the playground in Roberts Ridge Park. And I don't think that is necessary. I don't know why they added that little plot there. And I think the last thing we mentioned was we're going to try to talk to them about why they changed the plan. So at least it's a little further away from that playground. And also, I hope that they use not only cordon it off, but have signs indicating exactly what's in the ground at that point. Because, people sometimes don't pay attention to areas that they should.
The concern also is for children who are of an age to be hanging in the area, maybe by themselves without parents who are reading signs. So I understand the concern, and I appreciate any steps that can be taken and have been taken and will continue to be taken.
Just want to say that I did talk to Ms. Calabre to make sure that the plan that we are thinking of, you and I, John, is the plan that she understands is going to happen there. So I
That's
saw
great.
her right before the meeting, and I said, can I talk to you about that? And she
Okay.
was okay with that.
Yeah.
How you doing? Ed Merriman, Newtown Walk. I just wanted to say thank you. I know there's some discussion about crossing at Tara. I'm one of the people who crosses at Tara. And 2 points, really. One, if you, especially at night, if you come up along that and you're walking from town home, there is a section there that feels treacherous. In other words, it gets very narrow. You're very close to the road. And I would, if you're not convinced, come with me, have a drink at Isaac Newton's, stagger home with me, and see where you hit that point. Once you get kind of closer up to the graveyard, it gets a little better because you're a little further in. But there is a point where you're kind of, and I walk my dog there all the time. In fact, she's terrified of that spot. I have to carry her. But the thank you is the speed sign. I think I heard about it a couple ago. But there's a new speed sign out on Washington. It flashes red and green or blue, and I walk my dog there and I see it slowing people down. It's having a significant impact. So I just wanted to say thank you to the board for funding that and getting that out there and putting it there. So thank you.
Did we do that project? Yes.
I asked the
I have a
chief,
hog, yeah.
that sign could
Thanks.
display all kinds of messages, and I particularly like the one that says, "Thank you for obeying the speed limit." But I asked the chief if he could put up a sign that says, "Thank you, John Mack," because I asked the board to approve $19,000 for that sign when it wasn't in the budget in the first place, so I'm glad we did that.
Charles Foyer again, Newtown Walk. Welcome back to our solicitor, Mr. Sander. And I believe now, in light of further feedback and examples and the leadership of Mr. Mack, if a formal request can be put in to put this back on the agenda for the curb and sidewalk in front of the cemetery, the one that Mr. Merriman just pointed out. Thank you. Can that be put on the agenda for next meeting? Is there something we need to do or you need to do? I'd hate for that to miss the minutes. Thank you.
I guess a form of old business, Madam Chair. Mr. Mack had mentioned something about some litigation that's going on in the township, and that the township is being sued by some parties. And I just wanted to ask the solicitor how, I know we have to have special executive sessions sometimes planned, but I also know that if the board would like to have an executive session right after this meeting, we could also do that. So I will throw that out there. If the board would like to have an executive session right now and get it over with, since Mr. Mack has brought it up, would we want to do this in regards to this litigation?
The board can do that, recommend that the meeting be adjourned so that folks know that we're not coming back into session tonight. And if the board wishes to discuss that matter, it may, and it'll be announced at the next meeting.
Are you prepared to give us an update?
I am not. I am not handling this case for the township. That is insurance counsel.
So I think we would have to have whoever's handling the case to be present. I would like to schedule that because, I don't know about you, I think you had to do, what do they call it when you grill you?
Deposition.
A deposition
Yes, yeah.
for about an hour, and I felt like I was the one being guilty of something, and I like to know what the heck's going on with that case myself.
Well, do we have to schedule something with our special attorney in regards to this, maybe before the next meeting, to have an executive session? I'm sure it would be brief. Maybe Mr. Mack and myself have some questions. I know,
I'd certainly be in favor of that.
I can reach out to them in a roundabout manner. The matter is scheduled for trial on May 8th and is expected to continue for about 2 weeks.
So,
I'll be in Europe. Too bad I won't be able to attend that trial.
You'll be held in contempt of court.
is
no?
it,
Can we get a continuance?
You better not come back.
Don't come back, you'll be a fugitive. That's-
The bench warrant out for you.
is this something that could be done via email? We're not deliberating on anything, or rather than an executive session?
Certainly, if you give me specific questions, I could forward them.
Just a suggestion. I'm not saying we don't have to have an exec. I just thought maybe
No,
we don't
it's-
need to. I don't. I'm
If you
good with
have
it.
specific questions, I can forward it to the Divots Council, but
I mean, we bring him in here, we're paying him, right?
he works for Divot. He works for our
But I'm
insurance
saying we're
provider.
paying him hourly probably to come in and talk to us about it, and, no, just-
Well, Divot,
Well, we don't pay.
we won't pay him, but it's going to
Okay.
be reflected in future insurance rates.
got you.
Well,
I'm good either way, I just was bringing it up, don't have an issue.
I guess if we lose the case, we really have to pay a lot more insurance. But I don't have specific questions other than what the hell's going on, what is on the table, what's off the table. I don't know, you know.
I can only tell you that it's scheduled for trial.
There's going to be a trial.
It's scheduled as of right now, yes.
Any idea when that trial?
In May, I believe. Does that answer your question, John? I mean, I'm sure there'll be conversations prior to the trial, but I don't know what else we could ask.
Well, I guess we can have an idea of what happened after the trial starts, maybe. Can they come and discuss? As I said, I'll be in Europe, but I'd like to know how the trial went.
They typically provide briefs before, during, and after.
Is it something that we would, I guess we wouldn't want to get involved in making an offer? That'd be Divot's prerogative to do that. So having, talking about it beforehand would not accomplish that. It might be detrimental, so.
I think you're probably right about that, yes. Of course, I'm not a lawyer. That's just my opinion.
Right.
Any other business? Hearing none, I'll call the meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.